Welcome back to the Restore Hype Wellness Podcast. This is the Brownsboro edition. That means that it's not related to corporate. So, if you're with Restore Corporate, you don't got to be here unless you just like me that much. So, Jared and Waverly.
Hi.
Hey.
Hi, how you doing?
Doing great. How you guys doing?
Good.
Just peachy.
Peachy. So, you guys are one of the longer standing customers with Restore. I think, when did you guys join?
What's it, 25? So
23.
October 23, roughly?
Yeah.
October 23. When was I doing 23? I don't even remember. It was so long ago.
Right.
And what brought you to Restore?
For me, I was looking into like ice baths and cryotherapy, and I tried doing an ice bath at home, and it just is a little nippy. So I decided to try cryotherapy, and you guys were offering a week free. And so
Back then.
back then when you guys were first opening and doing a bunch of promotions, that was like, hey, come in, do like a week free, or it might have been like $30 for the week.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh yeah, I'll do that for a week. Why not? Took full advantage of it. And then I pretty much ended up signing on and kind of just playing with the other services as well.
Well, and he also calls me up as I'm driving home from work and going, hey, you want to come to this place? I was like, what place are we talking about? He's like, it's called Restore. And I was like, what's it going to do for me? He's like, well, they have all these other sources, and you could do IVs, you could do this. And I'm just like, all right, let's go. So I went, and I think my first service was red light. And I love red light because for me, I'm always either cold in the toes or just needing to warm up, you know?
Yeah.
And it's so hard to find anything that will warm me up if it's keeping socks on me, which I hate socks. Sorry, people who like socks, you know? But at the same time, it was just like, I want to find something that keeps my health going, you know, with the IV drips, you know, doing the compressions to keep my blood circulation, helping that. I mean, let's just be honest. How many people out there do those awkward, you know, things?
Yeah. Well, a lot of the guests that I've had on here so far, like the customers and the members, is that, you know, it's a very small percentage of people that, you know, do these types of things. And to us, it's like, oh, it just seems like a day-to-day thing. Because doesn't everyone, shouldn't everyone do ice baths? Doesn't everyone do IV drips? Like, come on. So if I ever go like have a drink anywhere, I'm like, I'm getting an IV the next day because I don't want that in my life. And they're like, what are you doing? Why do you have a needle in your arm? And I'm like, it's not a needle. It's a catheter, first off. And also, you feel great afterward.
You do. Like, let me tell you, if anyone has restless leg syndrome, I'll say I have had it my whole entire life. And my first experience was, I asked them, I said, okay, I have restless leg syndrome. And they're like, oh, okay, what do you want to try? And I was like, do you have anything? They're like, yeah, we have something called magnesium. I was like, okay. At the time, I didn't know that my body needed so much magnesium. And so I tried it. That whole night, I slept the whole night, and I did not have any restless leg syndrome, which is, for me, I will say, I felt great. I still feel great when I have my mag. You know, I have it in the gummy form, but I also do it in the IV form, you know.
And what exactly is restless leg syndrome for people who don't know?
It's basically where your muscles cramp up and it feels like they're like, it's like shocking to your nerves. And when you take something to relieve that, it goes into the bloodstream, and the bloodstream basically absorbs it and it stops it from
From that cramp from happening.
Yeah. And so for me, I was like, I would sit in any situation and I would just twitch and twitch. And I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I want to just give it up. And they say if you don't have a lot of caffeine, the caffeine will make it worse. And I'm like, okay. But it's not like I have caffeine every single day. You know, if I have caffeine, it's to keep me going, to keep me awake half the time. But I don't want to have caffeine every single day to make it my restless legs to go crazy. But, you know, so.
Something to fix that. I mean, I don't have restless leg syndrome, but I do know, I'm not sure if you guys have this too, but you like wake up in the morning, you stretch, and your whole body just convulses, and like, ah.
Yeah.
I've heard that's more of a guy thing. I don't know the science behind it.
I don't know it either, dude.
But
I wake up and I like want to
you
like
wake
flop
up
out
and
of
your
bed.
legs like flop everywhere.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd like to figure out the science behind that.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I'm getting ready to like punch a wall or something. Because I'm just like, so like, gosh. I don't know why, but I'll like also wake up in the morning. I sit down, like my leg cramps. It's just my right hamstring. I don't know why, but that right hamstring hates me.
Do you stretch it enough?
No, I don't.
Maybe that's it.
I'm lazy when it comes to stretching.
Yeah, you and me both.
Even got the roller pin, and it's like, I don't need to stretch.
I know I'll walk into the gym and it's, I'm like, okay, I have to like do deadlifts or whatever today. I'm like, I'll do like 3 warm-up sets and just start working out.
Exactly. Like when I'm at the gym, sometimes I will warm up, but it's not like, oh, I'm going to warm up and I'll feel better. No. I don't think a warm up for me, just me, period. I don't see it as beneficial for me, I guess. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's because I've never done warm ups. I just go,
Well, and some people say that when it comes to stretching, like you don't want to stretch before a workout because it's actually like worse for the muscle because a tighter muscle is a stronger muscle versus having like super flexible areas. Mm-hmm. I think I've heard it's best to exercise not on days or to stretch on days you don't lift.
Yeah.
Because like, okay, you can increase mobility, but typically you get the right mobility just from doing the movement right. Like if you just do a bench and go all the way down on a bench.
Priming, I believe it's called, right?
What do you say?
Priming?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just priming the muscle the right way. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're good. Well, and so for the services with you guys, like you mentioned, it helped your restless leg syndrome. Like what else has it helped you guys do?
Well, it was kind of a wake-up call as well as far as just getting my overall health back in order. Mm-hmm. I'd say maybe at the beginning of 23, I realized I had enough of being too much when I hit a size 40 on my jeans. And I was just looking for ways to help improve overall health in general. And so it's just been a nice boost to be at Restore, offering services such as the cryotherapy, the red light. They go very well in tandem. And if you're sore after a nice leg day, go get some compressions.
Yeah. We have a lot of runners come in and after like a marathon, they go live on those compressions.
I bet.
It's like their baby. They're good.
I mean, there's so many core services that you can do for so many different things. I mean, for me, like he said about his weight, like, yeah, my weight was horrible and I felt like, crap, I need to change something or nothing's going to get better. Mm-hmm. For me, I felt like I wasn't me. I felt like I was living in a body that kept just growing with the fat. And it sucked because I was like, there's so much that my body needed to know how to heal, but without being in so much pain. I was in pain every single day. There was never a dull moment. Till then, I started realizing I'm going to start taking better care of myself. So then, as we started coming to Restore, we started seeing more of, here is what we're going to do for you. I did the semaglutide, and I will say that did really kind of help me understand how much my weight was a problem, and how just by something so little can make it 10 times better, and eating the right things and what triggers certain things, and how not just something so little, but when they started increasing my dose every week, it was like, okay, this is what's going to change. This is how I am not going to be a size 18 in pants and a 3X on the top. I'm going to be able to change how I feel. Instead, I'm going to be monitoring every little thing. Mm-hmm. So,
well, that comes from blood work too.
Oh like, my gosh, yes.
Being able to monitor blood work, see where you're going. I mean, you've gotten your bloods done a few times now, and like you've gone through the journey of like optimizing your health. And with weight loss, like it's, of course it's how much you eat, because you can't make matter out of nothing. So if someone did starve, they would lose weight. Like it would happen. Mm-hmm. you just end up starving. But then like they binge and go back and forth. But the weight loss process just gets easier when your hormones are right. Like if you have adequate testosterone for men and women, if your thyroid's functioning right, thyroid's huge for that. And a lot of the services at Restore can help optimize that on top of, just get your blood work done, figure out what you're wrong. And if you need to do HRT or if you need to like get on T3, get on the hormones because they help. Mm-hmm. There's a reason they're there. What have you experienced so far using, because I know you've done enclomiphene?
Enclomiphene, yeah.
Yeah. What's been your experience so far with that stuff?
So I guess I can start with my numbers. I started with a low testosterone score of about 300 in that range, which is not low enough to go on TRT, they say.
But that's low.
It is
like
low.
That is low.
Yeah. So, and I personally didn't want to hop on TRT. I think I'm a little too young for that. I still want to maintain my fertility options. Mm-hmm. So I opted for enclomiphene, and that has doubled my testosterone.
And for people who aren't aware, enclomiphene is basically goes to your pituitary gland, binds to it, and says, "Oh, my body doesn't have enough estrogen." And then because of that, it's going to pump up more testosterone because your body likes a ratio to estrogen testosterone. And then it naturally raises your testosterone, which is great for people, like you said, who don't want to risk fertility, or if you want to risk it for the biscuit, you can just get on TRT and be like, I might be fertile. And the funny thing is that it's so genetic based, is that some people can be on TRT, do all the things, be perfectly fertile. Doesn't do a single thing. Someone could look at TRT and then never have a child. So, you know, it's one of those things that when you do decide to take a leap, you'll be like, all right, am I cool if that's an outcome? Like, could I do that?
Yeah, you just got to weigh the pros and the cons on most things and be, well, if it happens, am I okay with that?
Yeah. And also there's also just so much you could do to like work towards. I mean, I'm sure you're familiar with like HCG and like everything under that nature. What was some of the biggest eye openers for you when you did get blood work done?
It was my first time ever getting blood work done was about, I guess, 9 months ago now. I didn't know really what to expect. It clarifies a lot of things, and it allows others that are more experienced in their fields to be able to say, hey, I realize you're low in this or you're high in this. Take this or this to help balance this out. And with that, come back another 3 months, see how you're doing. If it's working, it's working. If not, we'll adjust the dose or try something different. It's a great way to help optimize your health.
Well, and also you can I think work with doctors is fine. I think part of the reason Restore exists is because people want to take like their own health in their own hands and be like, I want to do things on my cadence because I don't want to deal with all this slow doctor stuff. And it's nice to be, I'm sure you guys agree too. There's definitely things that we both do that is like, I'm just going to do it myself. we're going to figure it out. It's going to be fine.
Yeah.
Because at a certain point, like you have to take responsibility for the way you feel. And you're like, okay, honestly, the doctor doesn't really want me to feel better. Like his goal is make sure I don't die. Doctors' goals aren't to make you feel like you're on top of the world and like nothing can go wrong. So, you know, that leaves a big gap for people. It's like, okay, where can I go for someone who like, I do want to feel great no matter what? And that, you know, sometimes it's places like Restore, sometimes it's other solutions, sometimes it's, you know, all kinds of stuff. But for you, what have been the biggest movers in like your quality of life day to day, like just feel better now?
Overall, more energy just to start. I don't feel as lethargic as I was.
And what's caused that? What's like the correlations?
From Restore to...
Yeah, so like, is it cryo? Is it a drip? Is it like this ingredient?
I'd say it'd have to be the vitamin Bs you can get in the IV drips or in the IM shots. The IM shots are probably the quickest way to get in and out if you don't have a lot of time. Because sometimes the IVs, you're there for an hour. Sometimes an hour and a half if it's a little extra busy. It's a time commitment, which is great if you want to do leg compressions along with that, because that's about an hour as well. So,
no, when I was a member originally, I was formerly known as a shot king because I got so many shots. You guys get a lot of shots too. It took me a while. I actually didn't like IVs for a while before, because I just did my shots. So like, they're quick. I don't want to do it. I don't care. I'll just drink water. And then I started being like, okay, well, you know, I can only get so many shots before my glute just starts exploding. So I guess I'll do an IV. And then I did them, and I was like, okay, this is great because I can just kind of fit everything in 1 or 2 times a week versus like, okay, I have to get a shot every other day. And I do plenty of shots on my own. So I'm like, I'm tired of stabbing myself. I don't need you stabbing me too.
Right. Yeah. So many needles, right?
So many needles. And this is a fun fact for everybody. The older you get, you just got to be okay with needles. Like, it's just going to happen.
I mean, it just depends on where, like, the person who does it. Sorry, but sometimes I'm very picky on how people do it.
Yep.
Like, when we started doing peptides, I will tell you, I was very scared at first. You know, for us, like, I told him, I said, I don't think I could do it. And he's just like, let me try it and, you know, encourage you. But as I've gotten so used to doing, like, IVs and things like that, it's like, oh, okay. You know, I'm relieved. And I'm not, like, I can actually watch them do it.
I don't even want to watch them do it.
I can't do it. I cannot do it.
I don't look when they
always
go
like, all right, go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I try to talk while I was doing it so I don't know. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And then I'm going to call out Drew right now. Drew, if you keep saying big poke when I get an IV, I'm going to smack you. I hate that. Especially when he's like doing it, do. Okay, big poke. And I'm like, why would you say that right now? Like the last thing I want to hear, I want you to just have a conversation with me and be like, oh, there's nothing in
Big
my
poke,
arm.
and then I'm super tense.
I know. That's always stressful. Because I try to like, there's a trick where you like cough, you don't feel it as much. Like if you like try to do a peptide or something like that, you go, and you stick, it just works. I don't know why. I saw a YouTube video about it. Kind of works.
I mean, you have to find like when I was doing blood paneling to get my blood work, the nurse kind of told me something and it kind of helped me like not think about it, is if you get a stress ball and just think about that ball and how you're just getting your stress out as you just hold it in your hand. But at the same time, I'm like, I can't think of that. I have to think of something. So, you know, for me, it just takes my mind off of it. But at the same time, it was just like, okay, this is why people do things like this. So they don't make us think of, you know, like, yeah, Drew saying big poke. He's never done that to me, knock on wood.
I think he does to me just to mess with me, probably.
Eh,
I don't think I've ever heard him say anything
I've never
else.
had an issue with Andrew. He's pretty good.
No, Drew, he's a great stick.
Oh, yeah.
He's got me every time. And it's always funny, too, because, like, you get all your nurses, you feel them out, and you're like, all right, who's going to be my best stick today? Or, like, who's a good shot? And sometimes shots just, I don't know. Sometimes I get a shot and I don't even feel it's in there, and I'm like, oh, we're done. This is great. And other times I'm like, I feel like you're ripping me apart from the inside.
Yeah.
There are some that sting more than others.
Yeah. It's never, like I said, it's never bad.
It's not painful. It's just,
No.
it's like, oh, it's a little spicy.
Yeah. Like, honestly, it's more painful going to the gym than it is getting, like, a shot or something.
Thank you.
Which, for most people, like, shots aren't bad.
No.
Like, if you fall down walking, it's going to hurt more than getting a shot.
Yeah.
And, you know, you get a lot more out of a shot. So just suck it up and
Right.
Yep.
and get it. I know you mentioned B12. So that is something that people can get a lot of energy from, like a lot of boost, if they're deficient in it. So like, let's say if you get a B12 shot, you don't feel anything, you probably don't need it. But if you get a lot out of it, well, that's deficient in B12. Have you guys done the micronutrient test yet?
I'm not sure if I have, but I know Waverly has gotten her vitamins tested, and she is super high in B12.
Yeah. Well,
Hey.
she was like what, like 5 over the reference range though?
I don't know if she was. I know she was high.
Yeah, I think I looked at it and
Yeah.
it wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
So we're checking it out, and then because also with panels, like you said, with your blood work, your testosterone is 300 and qualify for TRT.
Yeah.
We all know that a 300 testosterone
Is crap.
Is terrible.
Yeah.
Because modern day medicine has like terrible reference ranges where they're like, you're not dying, you're okay.
If you're between 250 and 800, you're good.
Yeah, and you're
It's
like, okay, so I could be
it's a
3x
wide
the
range.
man.
Yeah.
I mean, well, you think about it is like, I've always been curious, like, why am I having all these, you know, issues? Like, when I took vitamin B12, I didn't have the energy like him. You know, Jared always had more energy than I did. Like, if someone gave me a Red Bull and said, okay, it has 300, you know, grams of caffeine in it, go ahead and, you know, see how you feel. Oh, I'm going to feel it. But it's not like him who can be having energized throughout the whole day and not crash like me, who's on the couch sleeping, you know?
Yeah.
And that's a hard thing. And I think that's why my body just has so much of it in my body. And that's why I'm like, I don't need it, you know?
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, okay, I'd rather have Toradol for my migraines because I get them. And I will say, let me tell you, if you have migraines, do Toradol. It is so much better than ibuprofen, Excedrin, all those out there. I feel better if I have a high dose of it because, you know, when we had our storms, you know, every time we have a storm or something drastic with our weather, I always have a migraine, no matter what. Like, and Drew did a good job. I will say he did this last time, and I literally went home. I crashed. And I woke up and I was like, oh my gosh, this feels great because I'm not hurting as bad. You know, like this last week I should have gotten one because it was just like, it felt like someone took my eye and like detached it and like, it was just like hurting so bad. And I'm like, this is my consequence of having weather, you know, very, very bad headaches. And I don't think a lot of people realize, like, yeah, we all as human beings, we don't drink enough water. We drink just, you know, LMNTs, which, heck, I will not do that. Sorry. You know, but I like my Toradol. I would rather have Toradol than anything.
Well, and it's more bioavailable versus like if you take an Advil or whatever, it's having to be digested by the gut.
Exactly.
And then it's it's going to bypass the liver regardless, which is like for people who do like any kind of NSAID, too much of it's not great. But if you're going to take 8 ibuprofens, you might as well just
Right.
not. My siblings or somebody would be like, oh, you could just take like 6 of them. And I'm like, you take how many?
Yeah.
I'm like, how do you? That's wild. When I got to a point too where when I was working in the film industry, same thing as like nurses. You're working for like 14 hours a day on your feet all day. Some of it's night shifts. You feel like trash. You're like, it's just not good. I would definitely take Advils or ibuprofens quite frequently, and eventually ended up in a lot of gut issues where I was like, oh, I don't feel good like ever. And that's also another thing that brought me to Restore was being like, okay, life today is not conducive to just feeling good at all. Like there's a lot of things where it's like, oh, if you don't feel good, it's fine. Like you're not
Right.
dying.
Yeah.
So
You're not dead yet.
not dead yet.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's the ideology of preventative medicine versus reactive medicine. And
Right.
today is very reactive. It's like, oh, there's a bullet in you. You should get it out. Not be like, okay, why is there a bullet in you in the first place, dog? Let's figure out gun safety. Let's rewind a little bit. What's going on here to even cause this?
I mean, I feel like there's so many things that people have nowadays that if we just had the resources, like we need doctors, we need nurses, we need everything. But really, at the end of the day, it's like our health is more important to ourselves to go to Restore and be like, hey, I'm having this issue. Do you know what I can do for it? They're going to help you regardless. Like I will say I've had gut issues my whole entire life, and I still, to this day, I'm grateful I go to Restore because they're willing to help my stomach or help wherever and being like, hey, here, take this. You're going to feel a lot better because of how fast it gets into my bloodstream or how fast it, either injection or whatever I'm doing, because I notice that my body is absorbing it 10 times faster.
Yeah. Well, and it's being, like I said, you can utilize it more.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because to get like with L-carnitine, to get like a good dose orally, you'd have to take so much.
So many scoops.
So many scoops. And you don't feel good after that many scoops.
Oh,
No, you don't. And I can barely take creatine before I'm like having to drink like 6 of these. It's like 1 scoop of creatine is like 3 of these guys. They're so thirsty.
I don't like creatine or L-carnitine. I'm sorry, but my husband's just tried to get me to do it, and I'm like, ugh.
These are the shots.
You just mix it with another drink if you need for the creatine.
I gotta get I have to find something that will like counteract the taste, because if I have any taste or I'm a weird texture person. If it this is off, I won't drink it. If it's like semi-sweet, I'll tolerate it, okay. But it just depends on how I feel afterwards.
For me, it just makes my drinks a little sour.
Yeah, it's not too bad. I had one of my first jobs was American Eagle. Wow, I know. Oddly enough, the manager there didn't drink water. She had like a vendetta against. She's like, I don't like how it tastes. She'd only drink soda. I don't know if she's alive. Kind of blows my mind. But if that just tells you, it's probably more common you think, the amount of people who like don't drink water throughout the day. I mean, a lot of people come in and they're like, oh, I had like a glass yesterday. And I'm like, no wonder your blood pressure is 130 over, not 130. That's actually not that bad. 190 over 102.
Yeah.
Like that's bad.
Yeah, because if you think about it, it's like if there's some people who say fast, like don't drink water, and I'm over here going, I can't live without water. Like I could drink like 3 of those if someone gave them to me. There's times like, for example, don't get me wrong, I should be drinking the Kentucky water because it's so good. But I am very picky on the taste of water. Now, if it's
same.
purified, oh my heavens. I could drink the Costco purified water and the Kroger purified water because it's not, like, there's a difference. Like, it almost like some of the waters, I feel like it tastes like LMNT because it's too salty. And I know sometimes people are like, well, salt is good for you. But actually, for me, I don't like the taste of it. If it has that weird taste, no, like, sorry, can't do it, But I don't know. I just think sometimes there's a lot of things that people don't realize. Like, yeah, we need water. It's gonna help, flush out whatever's in our system.
Well, people aren't mindful of it, especially.
Exactly.
Especially if you're working all day, people they wake up, they have a coffee, not water.
Yeah.
They go to work, grab an energy drink, not water.
Yeah.
Like, they'll have a soda, and
Right.
they're drinking all day.
But not
Not
water.
there's no electrolytes. There's no like.
Yeah, there's just water gives you a little more, helps your body flow a little easier, whereas Coke or coffee, it's not as
I mean, coffee's a diuretic. Like it
yeah.
actively dehydrates you. And like I said, black coffee is great, super healthy for you, but need water to coincide with that, which is part of the reason why. Like, and the funny thing is, when most people come to a store, they want hydration, which in my mind is funny. And like I said, I work at a restore, but I'm like, just have more electrolytes, dog. Like, that's like a hydrate. Like, I go to a restore for the minerals because that's the reason I get there. But it makes sense that's such a need in today's society is because no one drinks water. So I feel like it's just easier for them to grab a liter or two coming in. And it's great for them. Like, they could get it in there. But it's just, I'm still surprised today by how hard it is for people to get water in.
I mean, yeah, because a lot of people just think it's just there for color. If you look, I mean, yes and no. Like, for example, he loves cryo. I don't like cryo. My body hurts after cryo. It almost feels like someone took my tailbone because I've had an injury there. It basically feels it's like pulled out underneath me, and I'm like, I feel like I'm frozen. I'm a popsicle, and I feel like for me, like, I don't like to feel in pain all day. I'd rather be in a steam room or a sauna or anything like that to feel warm. I'm a warm body, not a cold body. We've had our days where it's been super cold and my body's like, I can't walk, So I think there's a difference, There's times I'm like, oh, I don't want it. And Jared's like, go do the cryo sandwich. I'm like, no, sorry, can't do it.
Yeah, when I was in the restore yesterday, Hannah was yelling at me and she was like, go to cryo. No, I don't want to. It's hard because some days it's hard.
It's a love-hate relationship.
It's a love-hate relationship because I was like, I know I'll feel better afterward. Like, yes, I don't want to. Like, this, because I know I'm going to get in there. I'm going to start going, this is cold.
Yes.
And you get out there and, I have like little razor blades on my chest. And I'm like, this is terrible. But, afterwards you're like, okay, I do feel better.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad.
It wasn't that bad. I did hate every second of it, but it wasn't that bad.
I mean, yeah, because you guys are going in without a shirt.
Oh, yeah.
Us girls, we could go in with our swimsuits and be cold. There's a difference because you guys get out and you guys can warm up fast. Us girls take forever.
It just depends on the metabolism, I think, too, and how your body adjusts to it.
Yeah,
I mean, there's some girls who go in there and like because you take your skin temperature afterward,
right?
And they're like little old ladies, like maybe 120 pounds soaking wet. They come out at like 60, and I'm like, what do you eat? What are you?
I mean, if you think about it, okay, for example, my grandma, who was 93 when she died, and her brother was 103, and their longevity, I will say, they ate better health. They had better health than me, who's 31, who's trying to thrive and keep going strong. But I think it narrows down to how did our ancestors do the things that they did than we do today? Maybe they had better food quality. Yeah, they did. Because if you look at our food today, like we were at a vitamin shop and the guy said, it's what in today's food world is crap. It is. For me, if I could do it, plant a garden every day, and eat out of my garden every single day and not go to the grocery store, guess what? I'd be happy as a clam. But at the same time, it's like it takes a process. We tried growing sweet potatoes. That was an epic fail. But, it's things like that where what is in today's world is not in tomorrow's world.
Yeah.
There's so much that people don't realize that if we just do things differently, then we're going to feel better. We don't need to go. Like I was telling Jared, I said, we don't need to go to the doctor. I don't want to go to the doctor and get all these pills and being like, I'm on this pill and this pill from my doctor.
Yeah, people like pull out their medication list and you're like, wow, you're on 8 prescriptions. That's interesting.
Yeah, I'd rather be on something that's actually going to make me feel better. instead of having those 8 prescriptions. You know, I have one. It's for my anxiety, but guess what? It's not touching me. And I think part of me wonders, is it because I've been on it for so long that my body's obtaining it and like, oh, okay, I feel great. Not really, you know.
I forgot what it was when my sister got on one of the anti-anxiety things. It was funny because the doctor described, she's like, all right, you're going to take it. You're going to feel way worse for about 3 weeks. And then you'll feel better. And I'm like, okay, in my head, you feel here. You take the medication, you feel here. You go back here, and now you associate that rise. Be like, oh, the medication helped. You're back to baseline.
Exactly.
You feel the exact same way you just felt.
Yeah.
So now you're putting chemicals in your body.
Yeah. So it's always been interesting when I'm like, okay, I don't feel like this isn't really helping. And like you said, doctors are great for reactive medicine. I don't think they're good for preventative medicine. Just from what I've seen. And because a lot of times today's health-wise, we can get our own blood work. We just pay for it. If you want to get scans for something like a echocardiogram, you can just pay for it. Like, and what? You're going to have a doctor who's, oh my gosh, I always hate going to the doctor. 3-hour wait, go to like the ER or something. They're like, oh, you have a headache. And I'm like, wow, I didn't know that. That's crazy. Thank you for prescribing me Advil.
Right.
Yeah.
I've had that happen where
At
it's
a
like,
premium cost.
oh yeah, with insurance. Like it was a $300, the $50 copay.
Yep.
And that's definitely stuff I can nitpick the healthcare system all day of like just their whole process and everything. I'm like,
Needs a little work.
needs a lot of work. Needs a lot of work.
There's a lot of work. Like, yes, okay, for example, I'm becoming a CNA. And I'm excited for it, but also at the same time, I don't want to be that CNA going, you need to take this, you need to take that. At the same time, I'm just going to stay in my lane and be like, okay, you can do whatever you want. I'll support you. But I feel like there's some people out there who will say, oh, you're going to take that and you're going to take that and it's going to make a difference. No, I don't see that in my eyes. I want people, like, if you want me to try it, tell me the reason why you want me to try it before I try it. You know, like, for example, like when Jared was trying to get me to do the blood work, I was scared spitless. All I said was, I'm scared to see what's going to happen. You know, what is the outcome of my health? You know, am I going to have things that, yeah, I need to work on? And yeah, there's going to be some things that I'm going to be like, why did I see this? I didn't need to see this. But at the same time, it's like, for example, like my iron. I could have told you there was something wrong with my iron, but at the same time, it's like, okay, it makes more sense. You know, I was telling Jared today, I said, you know, I could live off of steaks all day long, every day. But are they cheap? No. You know, I'd rather have steaks because chicken and I are not friends anymore. But it's things like that where that's why I think having other ways to eat protein, I will find it. I will do all my research to get high protein in instead of having to go get a big steak and be like, oh, this is so great. I love it. You know, there's so many other alternatives. Instead of having to spend 2 legs and 2 arms on meat products, you could have it in beans. You could have it in, you know, quinoa or, you know, other sources. But at the end of the day, it's like you want to feel better about yourself, kind of.
Yeah,
you know?
and no medication outside of maybe testosterone will make that big of a difference other than like lifestyle interventions. Like you're going to change your cholesterol by eating better and working out. Like that is way more than a statin will ever do for you.
Right.
Yep.
Or let's say if your blood pressure is really high. Like my blood pressure for a little bit, I never took it. Like my brain never was like, oh yeah, blood pressure, whatever. Then I started taking it and I was like, oh yeah, I am 160 over 90. I should fix that. And then I fixed it. Now I'm like 110 over 70.
There you go.
Just chilling.
Yep.
And it's stuff like that where if you don't monitor or if you don't like make the changes of like do a little more cardio, eat a little better, like, and you can still like, I eat crumble, you know, I do all the things, I eat hamburgers, perfectly fine, but you have to try. Like it's like 80-20, I feel like.
You can enjoy things in moderation, I've learned as I've gone through my health journey.
You don't have to like full, and I see the people who like full send it and they're like, I can't even look at crumble. And I'm like, dude, it's just a cookie. Have a cookie, man. Like,
And they're the most miserable people because they can't have a cookie.
I know.
Yes.
I know.
I mean, it's okay. For example, like back in the day, I had parasites. Didn't know I had parasites, but it also was at the time, like I went to this doctor he was like a health doctor and everything. He's like, you have parasites. And I was like, okay, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
He's like, we're going to change your whole diet plan. And I was like, okay, what? Gluten-free, dairy-free, sugar-free, and soy-free. I was like, that's nothing. So as I was doing this journey, and let me tell you, it kind of like made me kind of realize like my health was so crazy to think like it's just something so minute. But really, it's going to make you feel better, and you're going to find ways to get your health to be normal. Like Jared, he did so much changing and everything. And I'm over here going, I want to do that too. But it's like, you have to want it before you want it. You know, if you see someone do it, try to do everything that they want. But at the same time, you got to figure out what's best for you. You know, you're going to find things that maybe are easier, you know, but I will say, if I didn't do those, I would still have parasites. You know what I mean? At the same time, it's like, okay, I have all these problems, but slowly but surely, we're going to find other ways to do it, you know? Just like me saying earlier, plant a garden. Yeah, you're going to find that you could make so many different things with your garden items that you have. But at the end of the day, it's like, okay, what else am I needing to do? You know? Am I needing to change how I eat this vegetable? Yeah, because maybe the way you cooked it was terrible. Or is it this way to cook a steak? Yeah, that's the better way to do it. You know, there's so many different ways of eating different things. But at the end of the day, it's like, okay, this is better for you. You know?
Yeah.
So.
When you bring up a good point of, you know, whoever, let's say if you're in a relationship and the other person starts taking care of their health more, it can help motivate the other one to be like, okay, well, if so-and-so is like starting to take this seriously, I probably need to do the same thing. Like, I think it's probably a wake-up call for me. So you can lead by example. And we have a lot of people in Restore who come in who it's like their wife or someone, and they bring in their spouse, and then their spouse like that, and now it's like a bonding thing. They can spend time together, they can recover together, they go to the sauna together, things of that nature. So I think it's good, you know, I would say to anybody, if you're thinking about taking your health to the next level and be like, I'm tired of feeling like trash and maybe not looking my best. If you do it, your spouse might get, you know, motivated, and that's a win-win. Now you feel better, they feel better, maybe you both look better, and you're like, hey, look at this, look at us. This is great.
I mean,
It's a great motivation thing for each other, as well as some friendly competition every now and again.
Yeah, definitely.
oh my gosh, yes.
Definitely has a competition.
Well,
Make it fun.
it's funny is like we have a photo of us 2 years ago when we were in Texas, and how if you look at us today, everybody was like, holy crap, you guys look different. Yeah, because he was a 40, I was a 18. And, you know, just learning how to change a whole different lifestyle. You know, it probably both hit us both in the head when we saw the scale, like, holy shit, what are we doing? You know, but at the same time, it's like, we did it. You know, we're changing how we do things. Yeah, we're still finding different, you know, ways of being creative with our lifestyle, like how we eat. Yeah, we're gonna have a hamburger or we're gonna have this every now and then, but at least we can say, okay, we're gonna change how we're gonna eat this. You know, there's so many different ways of looking at life, not just going, oh, I'm gonna eat everything and feel great afterwards. No, not necessarily.
You can't. And you gotta eat intuitively.
Yeah.
You gotta figure out what works. And there's certain foods that I'm like, they're healthy foods. I just can't eat them because I don't feel good afterward. I went through a period where I like made a list of every food that I can eat and I feel fine, and I just don't deviate. I'm like, if it's this kind of food, I'm good. If it's not, I'm not touching it.
Yeah, that was me with eggs for a little while. Adding salsa really helped.
Yeah.
Just kind of have to edit it besides the pepper and salts and just play with recipes sometimes.
Yeah. The weird thing about this is always funny. I don't know if anyone else with eggs does this. I hate the taste of plain eggs. I hate it. So I'll
Terrible.
So bad. But what I'll do is I'll like take my eggs, I eat it, and then I don't chew. Wait till I take like a bite of bacon, and then I chew, and it's better.
Right. Well, everything's better
literally.
with bacon.
That's what I'm saying, man.
Yes. I mean, it's like Jared said, you have to add a little bit of whatever. Like today, I had my eggs, right? But I'm like, I don't want plain eggs. And he pulled out the salsa. I'm like, I can't do that. It's like putting ketchup on your eggs. I cannot do ketchup. No. But I could do my Parmesan cheese, and I'm like, yes. You know, just a little. Not like a heap, you know.
A pinch.
Just a pinch, just to add something, you know.
Yeah.
And I think it's because the texture of eggs, let alone, it just, I don't know what it is. Like, I can do some textures with eggs, but sorry, can't do it. You know? I don't know. Like, when there was this one time, we did these egg muffins. And I don't know what I did to them, but we couldn't eat them after a while. It was just like, it was things like that where if you make things that will taste better, then yeah, we're going to eat them. You know, just finding something that will give you more pleasure, I guess, and add flavor.
Yeah, and even if it's like, you know, like one of my favorite meals is just like homemade chicken tenders and like potatoes. I just eat that all the time. Now I'll use the like the Kinder's teriyaki sauce. If you're a health nut, you might be like, well, it's high in sugar. And I'm like, I don't care. I can eat chicken potatoes, which is fairly healthy and it's great. So if you have to put something a little unhealthy on there, like volume's king. It's like dosage is what makes the poison.
Yeah.
If you have to put something on there so you can eat it, now you're eating like salmon and rice, but maybe something on there is not the healthiest thing, but now you're eating salmon and rice. That's going to outweigh, you know, a cheeseburger and fries from like McDonald's. So it's like, okay, just do it.
I mean, yeah, like there's some things, like, for example, like Jillian, he's given us some like ideas of food choices. And like, my thing is, I love sweet potatoes. I could eat sweet potatoes if I could every single day. Now, if I mix it in with some like seasonings, I will eat that whole batch of freaking sweet potatoes with that concoction. I'll be happy. You know, like I did sweet potato, mashed it up really, really good. Then I add cinnamon, cumin. No, not cumin. Nutmeg and something else.
Like garlic, probably.
No, I didn't add garlic. No, what was it? It was something. But pumpkin pie spice.
Nice.
Oh my gosh, it tasted like a pumpkin pie. So like that concoction, I wanted to have something that tasted sweet. Yeah, I didn't add any sugar to it because why? Why waste the sugar if you don't need it, you know?
Yep.
And so when I did all that, it was just like, oh my gosh, this is great. You know, it's things like that where if you have to do things, just add flavor. Flavor will change your whole palate, you know? It could be something so simple as, you know, like your salmon. I love salmon. Do I really want to have it every day? Not necessarily. But does my body love salmon? Yes. You know, there's different ways of having salmon. Like, I keep seeing it on Pinterest. I'm going to make those cube salmons and put them in the air fryer.
I keep meaning I think I tried making that one day, failed miserably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a cook. I can make like, the air fryer is great, by the way. If you're trying to eat healthy, air fryers make it so much easier to eat healthy.
Right?
Yeah, we have a toaster oven has the air fryer function as well as a few other things, and it's super helpful.
It's so easy. Because I remember, I don't really think I cook at home. Like, I eat out healthy, like Core Life and stuff like that. Because I'm like always running around. But I was like, what can I make at home that isn't that much work? Because also, if it's like a lot of work, I'm not going to make it. I'm already like tired, worked all day. The last thing I want to do is like actually try to cook something. Especially like the nice, when people like actually cook, it blows my mind. They're like taking the pan, they're like sauteing the steak and all the crazy stuff. And I'm like, all you, dude. That's why I pay someone to do it.
Yeah. No, I like to cook. I don't do it as often anymore because there's the meal prepping.
Yeah.
But when I do, like maybe twice a week or so to make something nice, I spend a good hour just kind of playing with some food and experimenting. Usually I get something off of Pinterest and maybe do editing to like make it be a little more me and personal.
Yep.
So it works out really well. She loves the food.
He does do a good job. Like, there is times like we're sitting on the couch and we'll be like, okay, what do we want to make? And I'm like, I have no idea. So of course, yeah, we're going to go to our Pinterest and be like, okay, let's see how we can do this, but like weigh it out, but also figure out, you know, what we're going to add with it. You know, there's going to be so many things that you're going to find that are so good. And you're like, okay, like for example, we have a lot of venison in our fridge. And so one time I was like, he was at work and I was like, you know, I'm going to make some venison chili. He goes, okay. He comes home and he opens the door. He's like, what in the world did you make? And I said, I made venison chili. He's like, let me try it. And I said, okay, try it. He turns around, he looks at me, he's like, holy crap, this is so good. You got to keep making this. So when it's around this time, I'm always making venison chili to just, one, it's hearty, healthy, and, you know, I'm going to add my spices and flavors, and just adding those just made me so happy that my husband actually enjoy something that I can make. You know, yeah, it has a lot of protein in it because I have my flavors, you know, but at the same time, it's like, okay, do I need to change anything? He was like, no, just keep it. I like this, you know? So it's like, it balances out. Like for us, you know, yeah, he does most of the cooking. Yeah, I could do better at making more cooking things, but at the same time, it's like, I don't want to cook today, you know?
Well, you have a good relationship when someone cooks, someone doesn't. So,
I mean,
especially when they like cooking.
Yep.
he loves cooking. If I had to cook, I would tell him, okay, pick 3 things that you think I can make, and I'll try. Like, for example, you know, I just jumped onto first shift, which perks for working first shift. I will try to implement a day where I can make something for us and see if we could change that and keep that in our healthy diet plan and seeing where that goes. Because sometimes we get tired. Like, you know, Core Life is a great place. Oh, I could go to Core Life every day. You know, they have a really good salad that has blue cheese and steak. I do like my steaks. But, you know, things like that. You know, you're going to get your protein. But, you know, sometimes in our everyday life, it's like, no, let's just sit down and enjoy our meal that we both made. You know, it could be something so simple at going down the street from our house and go to the Mexican market and get 3 pounds of our favorite steak fajita mix. And it's so good because you could do it for our meal preps because, yeah, it has a lot of seasonings. It has also vegetables. So guess what? We're going to have it with rice, you know, and a slice of avocado on the side if they weren't $10 a piece. But, you know, it's things like that where you can make it to the point where it could be added into your diet plan. You know, it's going to be better. Yeah, it's going to be a lot better. But is it going to make you full? Yes.
Well, that's the important part of, you know, food, like having a healthy relationship with food. What does that look like? You know, not being crazy with it. I mean, unless you have a goal, great. But being flexible, being able to like go out and try new things, cook with each other, have that healthy relationship, and also eating healthy foods. I mean, that's a great way to, you know, help you achieve your fitness goals in a way that's not like aggressive. It's like, oh, it's natural. We're just cooking. We're just enjoying what it is, and we're still getting healthier. So it's not like this thing where everyone's like, oh, but being healthy is so expensive. It's all this work. Da da da. And I'm like, okay, you can be healthy, and it's not that bad.
No, and part of it's kind of easing your budget into it. When you're first starting out, you get the basic stuff like multivitamin, and you just work on having that every day. And after you get that down, well, okay, maybe I want to add some fish oil into my diet, and you start putting that in your pill box. And so it's an accumulation over time rather than being like, okay, I'm going to go spend $500 on supplements and hope it works.
Yeah. That, and then you like throw out your entire fridge, and you're like, I can still make my fridge work. I just got to change up little things.
Yep.
I mean, you're going to have to throw out some things in your fridge, but at the end of the day, how are you going to feel after you throw out everything that you cannot have? You know what I mean? There's going to be a lot of things that your body probably is going to say, oh, I can't digest it, or I don't want to eat this today. You know what I mean? There's going to be a lot of those, but in your head, it's almost like a mindset of changing how you eat. You know, I remember one time when I was younger, my mom did the blood type diet, and, you know, she stuck with that for a little bit, and it was just like to see like how much your body changes the way you eat when you figure out what's better for it. You know, you're going to have those times where you're going to be like, oh my gosh, why can't I have X, Y, and Z? Maybe it's because you have too much of it in your body that you don't need at this time. You know, there's going to be times in our lives that we'll eat things that maybe we don't want to eat because it doesn't taste great. You know, like, I mean, there's so many things that I am like looking at in my life and going, okay, I could have done something so much better. But do I really want to change how I eat it? Yeah, I do. Because I don't want to feel like crap all day. I want to feel pleasurable, you know?
Yeah, find the joy. Well, I think we're just about out of time today, but I appreciate you guys coming on. By the way, they do dog sitting, right?
Yes,
dog watching.
we do.
What's the word?
Boarding, daycare.
Daycare. So if you guys have dogs and need them to be boarded or daycared,
Yep, in the Louisville area.
in the Louisville area, not Texas. Sorry, guys. We don't want to.
No.
Don't ship your dog up here. It's not a good idea.
No.
Well, we'll talk to you later. Bye.
Cool.
That was awesome. So do you time how long